Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We bit of a slight delay, but we're more or less on time. I think you can forgive me. You're used to it by now, aren't you? So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We're on to chapter 5 of Lorne's novel. Fucking can't get my head around this. You know, each week it's just like, what am I doing with my life, really? You know. But luckily, I have 3 people who've also got to question the very existence for doing this as well. So I do appreciate you guys for being here, for making me feel less insane. So thank you.
Yeah, we're all weird.
Good. That's what I like to hear. And that really sets the tone for an entertaining stream, doesn't it? But ironically, it fucking will be entertaining when you're reading this dribble. However, first of all, before we get going, I wanted to just, if you have a look on your screens, I'll show you the imagery genius of Blue Boy. I hope if he's not in the chat. Oh shit, is there no audio? No, it's not coming through.
Yeah. Look at his high heels.
Yeah, it's my audio's not coming through, for fuck's sake. I thought I had it sorted.
Can you guys hear us? I think
Oh right, okay. Can you guys actually hear me in the chat?
Oh yeah,
I see you. Yep.
Oh right, okay. Can also basically pause for no reason whatsoever. So even when I do get the technical aspects right, I don't get them right. Fucking well done, Andrew. Well done. Give myself a round of applause there. It's fantastic. At least I'm on the ball, but too much. So I'm giving myself a little bit of a credit there. Anyway, so let's crack on. So the picture on your screen, Blue Boy put together, and I think you, Tiffany, kindly shared it with me last week, which is just, isn't it brilliant, that picture? Doesn't it just encapsulate Lorne down to a T?
It does. That face. When I first saw it, I was laughing so hard. It was so perfect.
Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the face from The Visit, right? Oh, shoot. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta shut my
I can't complain.
We love him.
It's just there's just something about that photo and how it sort of, it's his character, isn't it? You know, like just sort of peeping at a door, you know, peeping behind a door, looking really kind of vile, really. But yet there's a comedy element to him, like you can't take him too seriously. And your look just ran out. Leper.
Well, that's the perfect statement.
Yeah, and I could really appreciate how Blue Boy got the height right, too. This is perfect.
Exactly. Right on the money.
Yeah.
No, it's so good.
That is a scary image. That is a terrifying.
Yeah, but you're going to have that on your refrigerator,
Amanda
James, if you haven't already.
I am. I am working on it. I definitely will put that on my fridge.
Okay. Andrew, I'm sorry. The chat log keeps bringing something up. We'll talk about that at some point, guys. I was in a safe place when I thought I shared that with the community, but apparently I misjudged the whole situation. But I will go over that story with people. So
what story?
Oh God, I fell down a manhole in Boston years ago.
Oh,
but we'll just leave it at that. Nothing needs to be explained. But the chat log seems to be saturated with comments about it, so I just wanted to address it.
Yeah, well, there's somebody's fucking name in his manhole.
Yes. It's that point. Yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll definitely have to hear about that. In fact, you can give us a full report, considering how you never gave us a review for Taking Abroad, and we're actually doing it for you.
We can save that too. So yeah, absolutely. We got a big chapter ahead of us. You don't want to be, we don't want to be, sidetracked by that. It's really stupid. That's why people love it, I think.
So. Let's go to In fact, I tell you what. No, we'll do a summary before we have people reading the chat. So pretty much a quick summary of where we're up to. What's up?
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so who wants to give us a quick summary about where we're up to in the story, if you can call it a story?
Shin does.
Me.
Good call.
I did it last time. I think somebody else. I think.
No,
I think Tiffany did it last time.
This is part payment for your betrayal of not doing your review and making us do it. So get it done.
Okay. Okay. Take it from chapter 1. Essentially, we have a kind of loser high school student named Aaron, who is really hopped up about joining the military. He does join the military. He buddies up with, all of his superior soldiers, sergeants or whatnot, especially a guy named Pablo. They shared a bunk together. Sometimes Aaron slept in his bunk, but that's a little later. But there was, I don't exactly know what their job was, but it was something in between policing and soldiering. I have no idea what it was. But Paul gets shot. It was a very traumatic scene. It really affected a lot of us last week, especially, or 2 weeks ago, especially the way Tiffany read it, which was just amazing. It just hit home so hard. And
very emotional.
Yeah. So essentially, because of that, obviously he gets, Aaron gets to take a couple days off. And I think we left it at, where he's still in the military. I don't think he's been discharged or anything. Is that true?
That is correct. Where we left him was when he essentially lost himself out in the field when those kids were. There was a missile that apparently came in and hit the kids 30 feet away from where he was standing.
Oh, that's right. They were playing ball.
He lost it. Yeah.
They just blew
and so that's where we left him. They blew. Yeah. Apparently they did.
It's a big hole right in the street, but nobody else got hurt but those kids.
Nobody.
He was physically restrained by his comrades because he was going to run and reassemble the children who had just been blown to bits, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly. So now we're coming up to chapter 5.
Oh, we also heard that he came close to death many times and he killed many people, but that was just one time.
He didn't even care.
That's it.
He didn't care. Yeah.
Yeah. And his mother was kind of detected there was something different about him, because that's what mothers do.
Don't forget, if it wasn't for all the mothers in the world, what kind of a state would it be in? Or some shit he wrote at the end of chapter 3, was it?
Would just be a world full of lazy bones. That's what would happen.
Lazy bones, yeah.
Do you want the exact line? I can tell you.
Yes.
If it weren't for mothers. Huh? No. If it weren't for mothers, this world would be a hard place to live in. Isn't that the truth?
I mean, I don't know where to start.
A truer statement.
I mean, technically it's true, but it's a little bit like saying if it wasn't for oxygen, this world would be in a terrible place.
Really?
Right.
Well, you can't expect tender heads like us to understand this. Tiffany's the only one that got that one.
That's right. Okay. Anyway, shall we go on to chapter 5?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, because this is a long one.
Yeah.
So...
Do you want to read the first chapter, please, Tiffany Lockhart?
Sure. Aaron looked up at the clock above
there we
the door
go
of his
again.
room. It read 1:45 p.m. In just a few hours, he would be on a plane and headed for home. He'd spent the last 3 months in the psychiatric ward of a hospital trying to get back to a normal state of mind. The doctor had told him the images that he had seen and the echoes of the cries that he had heard would never leave him, and there was no way anyone could make him forget what happened. The only thing anyone could do was to help him learn how to deal with them so that he could continue on with his life in a somewhat normal way. It's been 3 months since he lost it in the field, but in his mind, it felt like it just happened yesterday. He began to wonder if he was ready to leave the hospital and be in society without supervision. The last thing he wanted to do was to hurt an innocent person because of an unconscious state of mind.
Oh,
An unconscious state of mind? Like unintentional travel?
Unintentional murder.
It's that Lorne's lack of responsibility coming out in his writing, and that he doesn't believe people are responsible for their actions, so that's what he's writing. It's like, well, it wasn't his fault. You know, the world made him do it, you know.
So in Lorne's mind, it's, you know, deprivation of mac and cheese, meatballs are on the same level as witnessing horror of war. It's like that, you know, they both can put you into an equal, what do you say, unconscious state of mind to do the most horrible things in the world.
Yeah, he was messed up at the time.
He also says, where is it? It's been 3 months since he lost it in the field.
Yeah.
He just lost it.
Yeah, it's not a very good summary. Like, and when did he lose it in the field? Because all that really happened, according
when the
to
kids
him,
were blown up.
Oh, that's when he lost it.
No, he lost it when the kids
you're
were
right.
blown up.
Right, but he finally lost it when the kids were blown up. But the real traumatic experience should have been watching his lover get shot and killed in his arms.
Right.
He finally lost it when 3 strange little kids got blown to bits. I mean, that sucks too, but he's very unclear about it. And I know we're going to say this all through the book, but he said he had spent the last 3 months in the psychiatric ward of the hospital. Can we get a scene from that? Can we get a conversation with a psychiatrist or a therapist? Can you show us what Aaron's state of mind is instead of just telling us that he lost it? Yeah. He's all messed up at the time. You know,
he's not right.
Show it through dialogue and storytelling.
I also like
it's just lazy.
The way he throws in without supervision.
Well,
it's
I just wanted to touch upon that, dude. Just read what I've highlighted there. He began to wonder if he was ready to leave the hospital and be in society without supervision. The last thing he wanted to do was hurt an innocent person because of an unconscious state of mind. That's got to be an insight into what he was thinking.
Yeah, but it implies
that at that point he wrote it, though.
Yeah, but it implies he welcomes supervision. You know?
Yeah,
like he's blowing it off in real life. You know, I welcome that too because I don't want to get in trouble.
It's somebody else's job to make sure that he doesn't hurt people, and if he does, then that's your fault because you weren't supervising him properly. Just like it's somebody else's fault that he did what he did in Nashville when he wasn't treated right by people, so it's their fault. And this unconscious state of mind, I'd like to know what the hell he meant by that. Was he hallucinating, sleepwalking?
We don't know what's making him dangerous. Exactly.
No, I think it goes along with his statement of messed up at the time. Someone who isn't clear-headed and could do some terrible things because of that. So I think what he's saying here is that someone who's in that state should be supervised, but someone who isn't that guy anymore shouldn't be. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for Lorne then, I think that at this point, he hates probation. He hates having to go to class and everything like that. That's obviously known. But he can look back and say, back then I was really messed up at the time, but I don't do that anymore. I'm a different person. So I don't.
The last thing he wanted to do was hurt an innocent person. That's got to be
exactly
something prominent that was on his mind at that time. Like, if you Kayla as an innocent person, the last thing he wanted to do was hurt her, because them are the truths which are not truths that he tried to cling to. Them are the sort of narratives that he created, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. C just pointed out something really great. said, I have PTSD from Iraq, and it's the exact opposite. Coming back home, I had a hyper alert state of mind. I think he's mixing his own experience from the sting as a way to excuse his behavior, and that is exactly right.
Total.
And sorry to hear that, by the way.
Yeah.
Cheers for that, Mr. C.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
So once again, he's writing about something he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. As Shin's Manhole says, he did no research.
Can we change that?
Hey, listen, dude, you've told everybody this information.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, what's funny about that name is that it implies a couple of things.
Yes, it's a double entendre. Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
That's cute.
Yeah. Began to wonder. Yeah, I think it's interesting that it's there's obviously going to be. It gets you mad, doesn't it? Because when he's talking about the military and things like that, we've touched upon it before. It's kind of a disrespect to people. I think, it gets you a little bit mad. It's kind of ignorance, isn't it? I think that's heavy in Lorne's life, isn't it?
This is all an exercise in apologetics, and I mean, he's trying to excuse his own behavior and everything else. But you have to remember, at the time he wrote this, it's after he got caught.
100%.
At the time he was talking.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it interesting in what he says here. The last thing he wanted to do was hurt an innocent person. Don't forget, Aaron is Lorne.
Yeah, but when he had total control of the situation before he knew that, before he got caught, when he was in total control, the opposite of what he was doing was hurting her. I mean, he was harming her and doing the opposite of what he said he wanted to do here. I mean, he was left to his own devices, no boundaries whatsoever, and he got into the sickest shit in the world for a kid to learn about. And so, when he's in total control, he's an animal. And when he's caught, he's this apologetic idiot who's trying to equate, a soldier's horrible war experience with his reasons for doing what he did after he got caught, which is so. It's really the best word I can use, to coin Lorne's phrases. It's disgusting.
It is.
He's trying to rehabilitate himself through this. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. Well, everything that he does is the same, isn't it? Everything that he does is to try and cover up his his failings. He doesn't realize he has ultimate responsibility over it. That's the whole basis of his character, really. In an exaggerated way, which is why he's funny. Should we get onto the? Do you want to read this?
Well, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Another way to put it is that if Lorne had never been caught, he could not be writing a book like this. Everything is just oozing with his excuses for what he did. That's what this whole book is, in my view.
Yeah. Well, you remember how much the kind of overview, dedication, and donation section had us enraged. I mean, Jesus. It was, blood pressure's still up. Do you want to read the next bit, Tiff, please?
Sure.
With meaning.
It always has meaning. Thank you very much. No, he said as he looked in the mirror of the small bathroom.
Just great with language.
I'm ready. The doctor wouldn't release me if he didn't think I was ready. He pulled on his thin jacket, went to the bed, closed his suitcase, and picked it up along with his briefcase full of papers, and then walked out the door. On his way to the checkout desk, he met a nurse in the hall that had helped the doctor with Aaron while he had been there. He talked to her for a few minutes, then she gave him a hug and wished him luck as he lifted his suitcase from the floor and started towards the checkout desk.
Hug?
Yeah, that's a bit sudden.
What did they talk about? I guess it doesn't matter.
What's in his
fucking Doesn't matter. Right, he's got a lot of papers.
And he's talking to himself again. there's more dialogue that goes on between himself than any other characters. I think we had a little bit between him and Paul before Paul's tragic end, but I think there's been just as much dialogue, like with him talking to himself.
Yeah, and it's all stupid too.
Well, he's talking to himself because he lost it.
Right.
Yeah, we've got to plow through this. This is a long chapter, bro.
I just think it's interesting that he met a nurse, and they're hugging each other. That I find that a bit odd. But anyway, yeah, she would.
That's a mother thing, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, the nurse was a woman. So.
Oh yeah.
Aaron took one last look around before he boarded the plane. He never really thought he'd be all upset about leaving a place where he had lost so much of himself, but he felt a strange feeling in his stomach because he was leaving what he had grown used to in a year and leaving people behind that he grew to care about. He didn't feel right about leaving. He felt like his job here was still unfinished and could not do anything about it. He looked down at the ground in front of him and then made his way up the portable staircase and entered the airplane that would carry him back to the States. He found his way to his seat and prepared for the plane to take off, and then stared out the window at the country that was so full of turmoil. When the plane began to roll down the runway, he muttered to himself, "This is it. No more madness. This is where I need to try and start my life over again. A hell of a chore that's going to be." He closed his eyes and let his mind drift away as the plane began lifting higher and higher in the air. When the plane finally leveled out, Aaron took a couple pictures out of his family. He prayed that he could be the person they expected him to be. He always did his best to make his mother proud of what he had done, but this was altogether different. Maybe not for her, but it was for him. He put the pictures away, then lost himself in peaceful thoughts as he looked out of the window at the sight of fluffy white clouds that looked like cotton, and it made it feel like he was sitting in heaven. He thought of Paul as he slipped off to sleep and wondered if this is what Paul was viewing in heaven.
I kind of can I say something positive? That's kind of not. I like that kind of the writing there with regard to your fluffy white clouds. Is that what Paul's seeing in heaven? Like drifting off into. That's the only bit of the book that's actually passable.
If a child wrote it, yeah.
Yeah, passable.
I agree. I think it sounds like a child wrote it. I was just thinking.
No, but like for Lorne in this book, that's good because the rest of it sounds like an insane person's wrote it. Elevating.
He's at least talking about the experience.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's giving more detail about what's happening in the moment. Yeah,
he's actually building and he's setting a scene. He's trying to convey emotion. I actually like that part because it fits well with how a novel is supposed to be written. Now it's pretty childlike, like you said. But ultimately, it's better than the rest of the drivel. At least he's actually saying something. But what is bizarre, that I just kind of ask, why is Aaron leaving? On what grounds? Is he being viewed as medically unfit? How's his discharge actually worked?
I think that's just assumed.
He could.
It's assumed that he's gonna...
Yeah, but it's a big deal, isn't it? You can't.
No, you can't
just assume it, can you?
He's going AWOL, Andrew. That's what's happening.
Right.
He's going over the fence.
So they're sending him home.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to remember, he was on a psych ward for 3 months.
But it'd be important that we're explained exactly what's happened. Like, he's not said anything about...
you want a story? I forgot. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm expecting too much, really.
Well, what about the... where was the part where he's hoping that he can be the same person he is to his family, whoever that is.
What they expected him to be.
Yeah, he prayed that. Yeah, we don't even know what that is.
No.
Will Aaron come home and watch clocks like he used to? That's
all we know about him.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he prayed that he could be the person they expected him to be. But, like, that is important as to a novel in this context, but we don't know what they expect him to be. We don't know anything about...
Also, why would he care? I mean, that's really important, I know, to the author, what people think of him. But I guess he's interjecting himself. So, but this paragraph is the definition of dribble. Dribble, excuse me. Just horrible. We got to get through this. How many pages is this shit?
All right, so you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
God, somebody.
Okay. The flight was long after making 3 flight changes before finally landing in Indianapolis, Indiana. 23 hours and 13 minutes long, to be exact. He was tired and was relieved when he set his first foot down on the soil of his home country. He hadn't gotten much sleep on the plane, and he was anxious to get home and get in his own bed after so long of sleeping on Army-issued bunks. There was a large crowd of people in the airport to welcome the troops home as they walked in the door. He shook the hands of many people that showed support for him and the rest of the troops. After getting about 3/4 of the way through the crowd, Aaron caught a glimpse of his mother and began moving toward her with a happy but nervous smile on his face. Before he could get his bags down, she threw her arms around him, and he felt her joy and relief that he was home. I'm so happy you made it home safely, she muttered to him.
A lot of muttering.
Yeah, can I just stop? Why? So, if he's been discharged because on medical grounds because he lost it in the field, why is everybody else going back as well?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that too as I was reading it and thinking, I mean, there's not just groups of troops coming home and everyone's at the airport every day waiting for them.
Yeah, it's like
to get there. So
the idea
really
is he's gone home after a year because of what happened. So is there a full plane full of people that have got PTSD, and they're all like, what the fuck's going on?
They could be mixed up together. Could be the people who finished their enlistment. Their tour is over. They wouldn't just fill up the plane with just him. But also, I think the part about
getting
there
commercial
being large
flights.
That's true too. Yeah,
these are not military flights. He's getting commercial flights, and it just fucking doesn't make any sense.
Nothing does. Well, you're directing traffic in the middle of a battle scene. Okay?
It's like like he's getting a hero's return, which of course we're not. People that go through those kind of things should do, but that doesn't always happen. He's not going to have. He's been out in the field a year. And he comes back, it says here, he shook the hands of many people that showed support to him and the rest of the troops. After getting about 3/4 of the way through a crowd. So the scene that he's painting is like just some euphoric kind of like a football team coming home and everybody's fighting their way through the crowd and being congratulated.
Yeah.
Carrying him on his shoulders.
There's just throngs of people.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And he's shaking lots of hands. This must be like a real fantasy of his, though. But it's also the way he's kind of standoffish about it too. He's the injured hero just wants to get home. Doesn't care about the adulation of everyone else around him. He's just too honorable to care about that.
Honorable. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
He just wants to hug his mother.
Aww.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, she couldn't wait to see him. It was the opposite. She couldn't wait to see him, and before he could even put his stuff down, she threw her arms around him. She was so excited that she muttered, "Oh yeah."
It's almost like two lovers meeting. I mean, the way it sounds, I know it's not unusual for a mother to come and hug you as you arrive or not, but the way he describes it sounds like they're running at each other in slow motion through a field.
Start making out.
Yes. Right on the floor.
Don't put that image in my head. I've got an image in my head. Never mind.
All right.
Honorable. Right, do you want to read the next bit?
Yeah. Was he home safely? He thought to himself. Did he really make it home safely? Or was the person that his mother knew before still left in Iraq, while another Aaron, a damaged beyond repair Aaron, came home in his place? Could he hold up to the expectations that stood before him in this world that had been without him for a long, horror-filled year? He pushed the thoughts from his head when his mother moved away from him and picked up his briefcase. "Let's get you home," she said with a broad smile on her face and a tear of joy rolling down her aged and worried cheek. Aaron picked up his suitcase and followed her to the car. What?
Sorry, can I just... Sorry. This kind of... Did he really make it home safely, or was there a person... Like, who's he talking to, though? Is he talking to himself again?
Yeah, he's thinking
He's
to
muttering a
himself.
lot.
I still can't get over
think-
this speech that thoughts that he's having. You don't quote speeches. Like, you don't quote thoughts, do you? That's all that happens. Like, you can't describe the scene like what's going on. You know, Aaron was having these feelings and couldn't believe that he was in this situation, but the reality of it started to set him in when he saw his mother, and then all the floods of emotion. It's like, dude, he has to explain it in speech terms in his head, doesn't he? You know, it's like, and all this, it's really disjointed. You know, did he make it home safely, or was that another person? I think he's trying to be clever and failing miserably. You know, it's like, this is going to be amazing that this person's come home who's been damaged, but yet it's not the real Aaron. It's like, who would have thought of that in a novel? Is this guy forgetting that there's like thousands and thousands of fucking novels that have been written? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's because he's not read any.
Yeah.
Let's get you
He's
home.
trying to write in an elegant way, and it just comes off really childish, like something a middle schooler would write.
Yeah.
Tears of joy running down her aged and worried cheek. Worried cheek. I don't even know what that looks like. His mother had
Right,
so
that's
much
a good
love
point.
for him.
Yeah.
Like, we get it. Your mother loves you and she was worried about you.
You're over
We
the
get it.
top.
Stop being so weird about it. Yeah. Like, you're not special because your mother cares about you. Most people do. He just makes everything so weird.
What's a worried cheek? Does like a cheek... How does a cheek become worried?
I don't know. That's what
No
I'm
idea.
And an aged cheek. I want to see what an aged
Well, I
cheek
can
looks
kind of
like.
get that, because the cheeks can have like wrinkles and shit. But does a cheek like develop its own fucking ego and become worried and start talking? Like, what the fuck is going on?
It's not a part. Yeah, it's not a part of your face that shows worry. Like, if you described a worried brow,
Right.
like, that makes sense because
Your
that's
brow
a
or your
part of your face that
eyes.
you use to show that emotion. But a cheek is just a cheek. It doesn't do shit. It doesn't show anything.
It doesn't.
Probably
Fucking
the
book.
most least wrinkled part too. So, you know, if it's the most least wrinkled part of the body, can you imagine her face? Can you imagine the rest of her face? but like I hate to say the name. Shins Manhole says, "I love how he mentions that she's old and haggard."
Yeah, he's even got to like subtly
I know.
insult his mother in his own fucking book.
He is he's what, 19 or 20? So
Yeah.
why do you have to talk shit? Like,
That's a
his
good
mother's
point.
probably
I
like
didn't even
in
think of
her,
that.
in her 40s. Shut up, Aaron. Her aged and
Who do you
worried
hate
cheek.
worse, Amanda? Aaron or Lauren?
They're the same person, so I hate them both.
Okay.
And in this book,
I might
clearly-
hate Aaron more because Lauren
just so
had
you
the
know,
opportunity
guys.
to make a fictional person better than himself,
Right.
and he failed.
Right.
Guys in the chat, just so you know, Amanda James was seething with rage at Lorne or Aaron before we'd even started the fucking stream, just because we read the first 3 fucking words of chapter 5. Like, fucking stupid Lauren.
I don't see with rage. I was just expressing. I think he's stupid. Just saying.
You had an angry cheek.
Yes.
What was
Calm that cheek
was
down.
your cheek looking like when you fell down the manhole, Shin?
I was making a duck face when I did it, so I don't know.
Of course you were. That's why you fell
Scared.
down it, right?
Yeah,
You're
my
trying to take a
briefcase stayed on the
Scared
sidewalk.
and anxious cheek.
Yeah. Let's get you home. She said.
Let's
This
get
is clearly
you
Mama Gwen.
home.
Let's get you fucked in.
Home.
Let's get you in a bath.
Right, exactly.
Let's scrub those areas.
Get you tucked in, lazy bones.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yes, please.
Of course, we got to get through this.
Okay. Aaron picked up his suitcase and followed her to the car, waving and saying thank you to people who gave him praise as they walked by him.
No, somebody, Wayne, wrote in the chat how he came back from deployment, and yes, there were some well wishers there, but it wasn't some huge like some rock band was coming through or something.
Yeah. Why isn't Emmy guy got a suitcase as well?
I have no idea. You're right. I don't know. Okay.
Sorry.
He said his
one of those
suitcase.
roller ones too.
Right. He set his suitcase in the trunk and closed it. Then went around to the passenger side of the door of the car and sat himself upon the soft, warm leather seat. His mother, already sitting in the driver's side, started the engine and gave him a quick, proud glance. She realized he was deep in thought when he had his head down and his eyes closed. "Aaron, are you all right?" she asked him with a worried look upon her face.
Not cheek.
Aaron opened his eyes and looked at her. She saw a tear falling down his cheek. "I don't deserve all this attention," he told her. "All these people are here praising me and the other soldiers while there are people dying over there still." He looked away at the parking area, then back at his mother again. He saw the worried look on her face, so he changed gears quickly to assure her that he was fine. "I'm sorry, Mom. Let's go home," he said to her with a smile that he wondered if she could see that he had to paint it on.
Do you know what's just funny?
Oh, of course she could see. Moms know everything.
Lon's dissing his own writing here. He's making fun of his own bullshit. All these people are here praising me on the other soldiers while there are people over there still dying. Exactly. What the fuck were they doing there? He's fucking picking apart his own bullshit.
That was the most useless paragraph in the whole book so far. I mean, that said nothing. They gave us nothing, and it was so long. It was so long. Okay, so he got in the car, sat. His mother said, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm not doing good." That's all he had to say. But he had to go into the entire...
He's weeping.
Yeah.
He's weeping to show how much humility he has. He's so humble. Plus, he has this sense of guilt. This like...
unfinished business
I don't think,
thing. Yeah.
Right, but it's admirable in Lauren's mind for Aaron to feel this unnecessary guilt.
Yeah.
Like, why should Aaron feel guilty? He did what he was told to do. Like,
he's the hero, isn't he?
What unfinished business? Right, but it makes him look a lot, rather than loving the admiration from all these people gathered at the airport to shake his hand and thank him. Where they came from. I mean, I've seen soldiers in the airport. I've never seen people crowd around them, and they just want to go home. Like, leave them alone.
Yeah. And his thing about painting an expression or something on his face to hide his feelings is so unlike the author. He does nothing to hide his feelings, or does nothing to hide why he's depressed, why he's upset, or why he's emotional about anything. This is total.
That's true.
This is just, I wish I was like this. That's what this is. And it's so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Should we continue?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Spends way too much time on his mother, by the way. Excuse me. Sorry.
And they quickly made their way out of the airport parking lot and onto the highway that would take them home. Moving the car in the right lane to get on the off-ramp, she began making small conversation with him to get his mind off of whatever it was he was thinking about. "So, how was the flight back to the States?" she inquired. "It was good, a little bumpy at times, but some turbulence is expected in a flight as long as that one," he replied. "I hope you don't mind, but I redecorated your room. I painted it blue with red and white border paper. I also..."
Where are we? Okay. Right.
This is ridiculous.
All right, sorry. It's just so stupid.
Okay.
And I'm also thinking about what's coming up. So,
Okay.
I also had the old brown carpet replaced with a light blue one, she described. I don't mind. It actually sounds pretty nice. That brown carpet was old anyway. It needed to be replaced, Aaron stated.
What the fuck
Yeah.
are you still living at home for, though? I mean, doesn't he have an apartment or something?
Well, no, he went from school and he went into the army.
Yeah, I can get that.
He didn't find an apartment.
Well,
Yeah,
that I
what-
understand.
what
Yeah,
the
but
fuck?
I wouldn't care what color carpet a place would be that I'd be only temporarily there for.
Well, just remember, this is coming from Lauren's head. I can see a mother like looking forward to her child's return, so you want to like make their room nice for them. I can see that happening from like a mom's perspective, but Lauren is not a mom. So it's so weird that he chose to write about this, that his mother redecorated his bedroom like a little boy, painted it blue
Right.
and red, white, and blue. like
Oh, I didn't realize that.
But
Because obviously.
I thought that
Obviously.
this was a way of him saying that she's painted it red, white, and blue to try and make him appear heroic, to try and symbolise his heroism. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So rather than babbling on about colours, I thought it was
I-
some kind of like symbolism. Or am I?
Patriotism.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I painted
don't think so.
stars and
I-
stripes in your room, and the carpet doesn't make
I
much
think it's-
sense. But
I think it's what Amanda James was saying, that the thing is that yes, Lauren is not a mother, but he imagines what a mother feels like. He imagines the mother-son relationship, and it's idealistic. So the way that a mother is going to view her son is going to be in an ideal way that Lauren
Yeah.
thinks.
Yeah.
So
I wish Aaron,
yeah.
I wish Aaron would say, nope, don't like it. Put it back the way it was.
Right. Actually, I liked it before.
Isn't it just such an odd thing for him to write about? Yeah, I wish I had the money to do it when you were still in school, but money was tight then. What?
yeah,
Why are we
it's
talking about the
bollocks.
state of his bedroom when he was in school? The colors on the wall and the carpet. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not something that you'd say. The way that the people speak, it's so matter of fact, isn't it? It's just terrible. The dialogue's
It's very unnatural.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like he wouldn't already know that money was tight when he was growing up. This isn't like the first time he's hearing it, you know? It's
Right.
And of course, there's no mention of a father again. And she was the struggling single mother
Oh, yeah.
raising Aaron.
No Dale.
Yeah, so
right about what
right.
you know.
Dale had already right. Exactly.
And
listen to this banter afterwards. This is fucking horrible.
right, okay.
Oh,
It's playful and cute, and it shows how close
Yeah.
they are.
it's just so empty. It's so it's banal.
Are you trying to tell me I was expensive? Aaron asked with a joking tone in his voice. Nah, I wouldn't say a thing like that. She joked back at him with a wink in her eye and a pat on his leg.
Isn't she?
He gave her a smile.
Aren't they in
Mom,
the
don't do
back
that.
seat? Never mind.
What happened?
I thought that I just had it in my head that he was in the back seat. I don't know why. Never mind.
Are
No,
you
he-
envisioning this is like a little boy?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's what it sounds
It
like
does
to
seem
me.
like that.
Right.
He's not
Yeah.
allowed in the front
He's
seat.
actually
Yeah,
in
car seat.
Yeah, he's actually in a car seat.
Right. Right,
Guess
exactly.
what? Mommy put a train border in your bedroom when you were gone.
Maybe that leprechaun photo's rubbing off on me and I can't picture stop. Just looks like some kind of bizarre, freaky child.
Yeah, that'll
Right.
haunt your dreams.
Holy shit. This is fucking stupid. Go ahead, please. I just read ahead. Sorry.
He gave her a smile and moved his eyes back to the road. He all of a sudden got covered in a cold sweat and his heart began racing when his mother slowed to make a right-hand turn. And he saw his friend Paul standing on the corner in uniform with an M16 rifle resting on his shoulder. Aaron rubbed his eyes quickly and looked again. Gone. Nobody there at all. What was that all about? You wonder.
This is fucking
It would have been better if Paul was directing traffic.
He's just turning up randomly, stood there with his fucking
He looked over at his mother to see if she had seen the panic all over him. Thank God she had her attention focused on the road. Yeah. He did his best to quickly calm his heart rate and remove the sweat from his face without giving away any hint of something happening. So, Andrew, I want to read this part, and I don't want you to read ahead.
Okay.
Because I have to get it out.
Okay.
Because this is
Close your eyes,
this is one of my absolute favorite parts.
Okay, I'll close my eyes so I can't see.
Yes, I'll drift off with you,
so
Tiffany.
I don't interrupt.
Okay.
You'll know when I'm done because you're just gonna start laughing. Okay.
Okay.
As she slowed the car to turn into the driveway, Aaron read a big sign that was stretched from one tree to another on the opposite sides of the driveway. It read, "Welcome home, Aaron," in big red and blue letters with a white background. Looking at his mother in appreciation, he leaned over and gave her a kiss on her cheek. "Thank you, Mom." "No, Aaron, I'm the one that should be thanking you," she said with a serious tone in her voice. "For what?" he asked. "For being born," she replied.
But fucking you
Aaron should be shot on the spot right there.
So should his mother.
His mother should. She should be his first victim. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. But yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For being born.
I don't know what to fucking say, man. Like, what the fuck?
Thank you.
What? I'm fucking.
Yeah,
speechless.
what do you even say to that?
This is him.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Ever.
Why did you know? It'd have been
Thank you for being born.
If the banner had said, "Welcome home, Aaron. Thanks for being born," in big bold letters with a black background.
Right.
Not thank you for being brave. Thank you for being strong. Thank you for being hardworking or responsible or caring or anything that he has control over. Thank you for being born, which you had no control over at all.
Thank you for being blonde hair. Yeah.
And do you know what? That could be the cheesiest thing that anybody has ever written in the history of planet Earth.
No, I think the.
But also the most meaningless
conversation was better. Yeah.
It's
well, you know, it would be meaningful. It would be meaningful, Amanda, if his mother, like, he's setting up this big thing with his mother and everything. And again, I'm sorry to do a spoiler alert, but his mother survives this whole thing. She's not even attacked by this guy. That would be an edgy thing. That would be an edgy thing to happen. You know, he sets it up.
He wouldn't even dare to write that. But mom is number one.
Right.
He wouldn't even.
And then
he can kill all kinds of other people.
This is just gratuitous shit that has nothing to do with the story. It was, you know, a lot to do with his character, I guess. But
what Blue Boy said, I didn't know Aaron had a choice in being born, which is true.
That's what I'm saying.
Aaron didn't do anything.
He had no control over that. Right. She can thank herself for not using birth control with an obvious deadbeat dad. I mean, he's nowhere to be found. Maybe you should have thought about that, Mom.
Nobody ever thanked me.
She should thank herself for not giving him up for adoption, I guess.
Nobody ever thanked me for being born. That's brilliant. It is just fucking absolute nonsense, isn't it? I mean, what a load of bad. There's just no point reading the rest of this book after that drivel. Like, what the fuck? He should be prosecuted for this. Like, there should be a law for trying to publish this fucking shite.
Arrest his mother. That's what you should do.
That's
the only way you're gonna hurt him.
Oh my god.
He watched a tear. Sorry, Tiffany, go ahead.
Now there's a lot of tears. He watched a tear roll from her eye and down her cheek and realized how lucky he was to have a mother like her. After the car came to a stop, they both got out and walked to the trunk to retrieve Aaron's bags. They closed the trunk and walked toward the house, his mother fumbling through her purse on the way to find the key to unlock the door. After she had the door unlocked, she walked in with Aaron in tow. Setting his bags on the floor in front of him, he flipped the light switch next to the entrance door to the on position.
The on position, guys, remember that because that's really important.
It is. It is. Surprise. A chorus of yells came from people jumping out of hiding places and startled Aaron. His face turned pale against the unexpected event and had to quickly regain himself from flashbacks of Iraqi insurgent attacks. Wiping the sweat from his clammy hands.
How ridiculously... Sorry, can I just interrupt? How ridiculously fucking silly it is of these guys to jump out with toy guns and flashing lights and strobe lights and smoke bombs and, you know, you can just imagine it. Surprise!
Yeah. Aaron just spent 3 months in a psychiatric ward. He obviously has PTSD, right? So they thought it would be a good idea to stand in a dark home and scream surprise when he walked through the door.
Yeah, that's right.
If his mom was as attentive as he says, and she knows what's going on in his head, then why would she do that? Is she trying to give him a heart attack?
Maybe when she said thanks for being born, maybe it was sarcasm and she fucking hates his guts and she's trying to kill him. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
How many people were there?
Don't know.
Maybe just Roy.
He doesn't tell us that. That's unimportant.
Roy and Tony. That's it. And Wendy's in the car.
Yeah, because Wendy's not going.
Have you seen what MC87 has just put? Wait, I'm lost. Which position did I switch go on?
I know. It's so, his little details that he gives are so ridiculous.
Yeah. I can't think of a more dumb thing to do for somebody who just got out of a psychiatric hospital after being at war, is to surprise them and startle them. That seems really insensitive and horrible.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm an idiot.
I can't believe this guy. This is his fantasy. The returning hero.
He switched the light entrance door onto the on position.
Oh, don't worry. Later on, they switch it to off later. So.
Exactly. Wiping the sweat from his clammy hands.
T. Davis, why is the sheriff here, Mom?
Oh, exactly. Wiping the sweat from his clammy hands, he worked up a smile and began shaking hands and giving warm hugs to friends and family members that gathered together for his return from the war. Okay, this part is great too. His mother had all kinds of food set out on the table and counter, most of which were favorites of his that his mother made special. There was chicken pie, butterscotch, Rice Krispie squares.
Why the fuck is there so much detail about the fucking food?
He was laughing. He's in prison.
The bigger spread than that, Andrew.
We don't get any details about his fucking discharge or his fucking gunning down people, but we get details. Chicken pie, butterscotch, Rice Krispie squares, Reese peanut butter squares. Reese's peanut butter squares. What the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, they're cups. They're not squares. Moron.
To wash it down.
Vanilla cream puffs, apple pies, chocolate cake, mashed potatoes mixed with corn and ham cubes.
Gross. It's not fucking gross.
Spare ribs with Mountain Dew, punch, and water to wash it all down with.
That's quite a spread.
Yeah, gotta include the water in that spread.
Oh my god.
Hang on, I have to go
Yeah,
get a dog here. Hang on a second.
That's just so fucking funny. Oh my god. Do you know, you can just imagine the reason he got he was probably hungry when he wrote this part because he's in prison and he's not eating great foods. It's just his enthusiasm taking over because he's getting excited about writing about decent food rather than actually thinking, what fucking difference does this make in the context of the story? Like, why am I writing this shit?
He got carried away, Andrew. He just got.
And what a strange spread.
I like this too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. If they don't go together, I mean, it's not a very cohesive spread. But look at what we've got here. It's all like sugary sweet stuff, except for the chicken pie.
Yes.
And the mashed potatoes mixed with corn and ham cubes. Oh, and spare ribs. We'll just throw some spare ribs in there.
And how odd
mashed potatoes with corn and ham cubes. Am I the weird one? Because I've never heard of somebody.
No,
I've never heard of
that. Not a thing. It's not a thing. But how weirdly specific.
You know what it sounds like to me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying butterscotch Rice Krispie treats, squares rather, and Reese's peanut butter squares. How oddly specific is that?
I know. Weird. That's what makes it so funny. And the first thing he said is chicken pie as well. I wish he'd have wrote chicken pie. I wouldn't have been able to handle that.
He calls it chicken pie.
He doesn't call it
it's
chicken
Lauren's
pie.
chicken pie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sounds. Yeah, I would eat some of that stuff.
I'm hungry.
I'd eat the. I'd probably just pick out the ham cubes, and the spare ribs. I would eat those.
Vanilla.
What would you wash it down with?
Poland Springs water that he's got in the back. Hopefully,
Nothing
out of his faucet.
Yeah. The water's a bit unimaginative, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like necessary to include that there. And where's the coffee? We know that's what he really wants.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Everyone had their turn talking to Aaron and asking him all kinds of questions about being over in Iraq and everything we were doing over there. He felt like a broken record after answering most of the same questions 5 or 6 times over. Some of the questions hit him hard, but he did his best at answering them without breaking into tears. But most of the questions that were asked were ones that he'd expected people to ask him anyway. It was about 10:30 p.m. before the last couple of people finally shook Aaron's hand and gave him a hug before walking out the door to go home. He was happy when he was finally able to get in the shower and soak his head to try to rid himself of the headache that had developed with the rush of questions over the evening. When he got out of the shower, he dried himself off and put on his night clothes, then stood looking at himself in the mirror.
Weirdo.
Nothing.
Go on.
Will I be able to find the same man I used to be before I went to Iraq, or are these images of the war going to haunt me more as time goes on?
What the fuck is he talking about, this guy?
He talks more to himself than he does other people.
Yeah, and even his own mutterings, as he says, are like long drawn-out sentences that don't fucking make any sense. Well, just imagine standing in the mirror going, will I be the same man that I used to be before I went to Iraq? Or are these images of myself going to haunt me more as time goes on? I really wondering what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
He loves that phrase, find himself.
Yeah, but
he's said that many times.
If I were to rewrite this scene for him, I would, he comes out of the shower and wipes the fog off his mirror, and there's Paul standing behind him again, or something. But he's got to go into this little pity thing.
And he's asking the same question. It's all, will I be the same person? Will I find myself again? He's been asking this the whole time. Right. He let his head fall down and closed his eyes as he said a silent prayer. After saying amen, he lifted his head back up to take one last look in the mirror at himself before finding his way down the hall to his bedroom. His mother had already decided to retire for the night, and she would clean up from the party the next morning, so he had already said goodnight to her. After climbing into bed, exactly. After climbing into bed and turning the light out, he laid there looking up into the dark and let his mind drift back in time to when he and Paul when he and Paul was playing basketball.
Brilliant.
And Paul had accidentally poked him in the eye, making his eye turn black and blue. Aaron smiled at the memory and wished his friend had made it back home alive instead of inside a decorated pine box that was to be placed in the ground. He had difficulty sleeping all night, and he tossed and turned when he did finally fall asleep from the dreams he was having.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. When morning finally shone in from the window, Aaron stumbled into the kitchen with his eyes still half closed. "Good morning," his mother said in a gentle tone. "Good morning," he returned. "By the looks of you, you should go back to bed for another 8 hours," she said as she set a fresh, hot cup of coffee on the placemat in front of him. "Thank you. I didn't sleep too well last night," he replied. "If I stay up all day today, I'll be able to sleep better tonight." "Would you like me to stop by the drugstore and get you something to help you sleep tonight?" she asked. "No, that won't be necessary."
Everybody's concerned in this world about Aaron getting his sleep. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
The Army.
Right.
It's so fucking weird. I know I can understand his mother, I guess.
Maybe he was sleep deprived in prison. And it's kind of an unconscious thing that he's writing about. Maybe.
Yeah.
He just wants to be babied so bad.
Yeah.
I think it's more that.
Why can't he go to the drugstore himself and get himself something to help him sleep? I mean,
because he's such a
grown
sleepyhead.
man. Such a lazy bones.
Lazy bones, that's what it is.
"No, that won't be necessary. Thank you anyway, Mom," he answered after taking his first sip of the hot coffee. "What do you want to do today?" she asked him. "I think I just want to stay home today and get over this jet lag. It'll feel nice to just relax and try to get some things off my mind." "All right. Well, I have to run some errands, so I'll be back this afternoon," she explained. "Okay. Drive careful," he demanded. "I will." He stood up and gave his mom a kiss on the cheek before she walked out and then closed the door behind her. After watching her drive away, he poured himself another cup of coffee, sat down on the couch, and hit the power button on the remote control to the television. He flipped through the channels until he found one with the world news on it, curious if there were any reports about the war. It was on that channel for nearly 30 minutes before they mentioned anything about the war, and he had almost fallen asleep.
Again.
He rubbed his eyes and sat up straight after falling back into a slouch so he wouldn't miss anything they had to update about the war. His eyes grew wide, his hands became clammy, and his heart rate picked up as he began watching images on the television of the suicide bombing that killed 22 people in Baghdad. It brought back sickening memories for Aaron, and tears began to roll from his already tired eyes.
It's all so predictable and on the nose, isn't it? Like what's happening. Oh, it just happens to be that they're showing graphic images on this TV channel of the suicide bombing, and that's, funnily enough, that's going to trigger him. Can I just point out, as NCA87 said something else really funny in response to what Lorne was saying earlier about lacking sleep. He said, "That won't be necessary. I'm going to down 35 Bud Lights, scream at my online girlfriend, and pass out into the nearest DVD player."
That's right.
You know what's funny? The whole little bit about drive safely, he demanded to his mother. He does that in real life. And
exactly.
He thinks that, I don't know. Help me out, Tiffany. What he thinks it makes him sound, I don't know. What would you
overly
say?
concerned, like
protective?
like,
yeah,
you're overly protective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like it's
like
cute.
authoritative.
Yeah, he loves his mother so much, he's going to really put his foot down and demand that she drive safely, because she would drive recklessly otherwise. This old lady, if she doesn't get the warning.
Even if she did, he'd cover himself by having warned her ahead of time. So it doesn't matter.
He's virtue signaling in his book.
Yes, virtue signaling. That's a perfect example.
It's coming across in his writings, isn't it? Because it's something that you said last week, Shin, right, about his writing and the way that the story is. he's writing from his own worldview, and his own worldview is incredibly narrow, and it's very narrow because really, he's led a sheltered life. You would think that with everything that's happened to him, he had been in the military, he's had lots of different jobs, he's travelled states, he'd been in prison a while, but really, what has he actually done? What kind of real, genuine experiences has he had in life up at this point?
It doesn't matter where he's been. It doesn't matter. You know, we know he's been in every 50 states and everything else. It matters who he was with. You know, it matters the people he's met along the way. And there's no one but family members. He's very limited worldview. The other thing that kind of strikes me is how he's always demanding to be him needing his rest. Now I understand the jet lag and everything else, but since he help Paul or whatever, the only thing he's been doing is resting up until this point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean,
well, also the first day he landed in Iraq, or was it basic training? I can't remember because he wasn't clear about it. But he was surprised that they didn't have the first day there to just like relax and get
I know.
stuff and kind of settle in.
He was surprised they started giving orders right away.
Right.
Yeah,
thought
they
he was
weren't
going to be able
mandatory.
to just decorate his bunk, lay around, get to know everybody, write in his journal. The lazy bones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I should turn the channel, he thought. But he wanted to see what was going on over there. Being back home didn't make him feel separated from the country he had just left. It only made him feel stripped of the chance of being able to regain his sanity for himself and for the innocent people of Iraq. And he was afraid that might play heavily on keeping himself from going insane.
Can we stop
After
there?
all.
I don't understand what
Yes,
he said
please.
there. Can somebody please break that down? First of all, he should learn to use periods, but he was going back home, didn't feel separated from the country that he had just left. Okay? In other words, he still felt connected, I guess. Only made him feel stripped of the chance of being able to regain his sanity for himself and for the innocent people of Iraq, and he was afraid that might play heavily on keeping himself from. What does that mean? Does anybody in the chat know? I mean, I can't even joke about it, an answer. I don't know.
So he knows that he's not sane. Because he says here it only made him feel stripped of a chance. What made him feel stripped of a chance to regain? So the only way he could regain his sanity, and if you're losing your sanity, then you're not losing your sanity because you've got to be unaware of it to be insane. So he's contradicted himself
Right.
there.
Well, with the innocent people he throws in. But what he's saying at first, I think he's saying is, I feel still connected to them, which makes it difficult for me which strips my chance of being able to regain my sanity. Okay, that kind of makes sense right there. And then he says for himself, he just adds, he's so fucking redundant. And for the innocent people of Iraq, what the fuck does that got to do with, and he was afraid of that.
Virtue signaling again. He's like,
Here's what I took.
sorry, man,
Sorry.
James, go on.
That just bothered me.
What I understand, so he says being back home didn't make him feel separated from the country. So being back home made him feel stripped of the chance of being able to regain his sanity for himself and the innocent people. So I think he's saying, it's really confusing. I think he's saying the only way he would be able to regain his sanity and like assuage his guilt is if he was back over in Iraq fighting for the innocent people there.
I'll buy
That's
that.
not, I appreciate that's probably the best sense we could make out of it, but that's not what he's written. Like,
yeah,
I know, but see, he says here, a person is usually filled with self-guilt when they don't complete a task they set out to do. So he worded it like a total 87, but I think that's what he was trying to say. Being home doesn't make him feel better. It just stripped him of his chance of
it's like he's doing a DIY psychological assessment of himself. It's weird.
But what's interesting is if being in Iraq and experiencing the traumatic events that he did, and it had him have a mental breakdown, why would going back there give him a chance to regain his sanity?
I took it that he's saying that he's got unfinished business there. So basically, what he meant to accomplish when he was over there, he didn't, and that's why he feels like he's not. Do you get where I'm coming from? So he left.
Yeah, but
of course,
because he lost his mind. So he feels. Is he trying to explain in his ridiculous way that he feels guilty and he feels that he's failed in coming back before actually finishing his tour of duty, which is bizarre because let's not go over there about everybody on the plane, but I think that's the gist of what I think he's trying to explain. Would you agree?
Yeah,
that's exactly what he's trying to explain.
Survivor's
but
guilt.
But it doesn't. That's absolutely not what he says, and I think Amanda James put it in the best way of trying to sort of piece it together, because it really doesn't make sense, and that's pretty typical for Lauren trying to explain anything. It's not going to make sense.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Well,
this
we've
is
got
a remarkably.
We have to actually earmark this particular thing because we are really truly making a good effort to try to make sense of what he's writing,
which is probably our greatest error. We're trying to make sense of the unsensible.
Well, no, I think we've succeeded so far. As stupid as it is, I think we've understood what he's saying. But this is the first time I have no fucking clue what he's saying.
Well, I think we've probably...
I understand what he's saying. Yeah. It doesn't.
There's a lot of contradictions. The way he's written it couldn't be any worse. It's not, and it's not explained in the context of the story. Like, you could have scenes that explain all of this. He could be having dialogue with somebody, like a conversation with his mother or an old friend or or something, or even a conversation with Paul. Paul shows up and he's speaking to him in a dream.
That would be cool.
You know, like you said, when he appeared in the mirror. And Paul said something like, "Listen, you need to get a grip of yourself. Do it for me," or some bullshit. You know, do it for me, or you won't get back in my bed, or some bullshit. You know, and but no, it's just this. Like, let's just read it again, right? Being back up. No, forget that. There's no point fucking trying. I'm trying to make sense.
Please don't.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you know what I don't understand? Right, apart from. Obviously, these words. Why didn't he reread this? Why didn't he reread? What, he couldn't have reread this fucking book. It's like it was just some fucking first draft that he wrote when he was drunk, and then that'll do. You know what I mean?
He's lazy. That's why he's lazy.
Because Lauren's everything about Lauren is that's good enough. And it was down on paper and something there. I say it all the time, but it's just like when you're you're a kid in school and you've got a paper due and you just don't want to do it. So you just write down, whatever, you add in all kinds of unnecessary words just to give it the necessary length. And it doesn't matter. It's something on the page. So it's good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I don't understand though is, so did Aaron lose it, or did he go crazy because he's filled with guilt?
Now I'm wondering about that too.
That's a great point, that, because we've got a contradiction there, haven't we?
Like if you rewrote the story like you said, Andrew, like he's talking to Paul, the image of Paul, and Paul was telling him to do these things. He's not get yourself together, but the opposite. I could start to understand the story a little bit more.
Yeah. He's trying to be clever, I think, by putting it that he's gone insane from all the things that he's seen, and he saw Paul on the street, but it's just the worst. I'm just shocked at how bad this actually is, if I'm being honest. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'm a bit fucking staggered. Ironically, I think Lorne should be tested for insanity after writing this fucking drivel.
Can I say, just going back again, I wonder if when Lorne was in prison that he was expecting a huge surprise welcome home party like Aaron got here. Or at least fantasizing about it.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. And all that food became very vivid to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think it's possible that when he did come home, that his mom did make him some stuff. Maybe she
Was a
did make
banner.
him a chicken pie type of a
Welcome
thing.
home. We're proud
I
of
don't
you.
think there was a banner.
And then on the banner, there's little Dateline stickers on it.
Right.
Or his
I don't think
mugshot.
Yeah.
His crying mugshot on balloons.
Okay,
Talking about a cake with a picture of him, like his mugshot on the cake.
His mugshot on the cake. That's amazing.
And Tony would be like on the front stoop, like pretending he's being arrested, prone.
Mm-hmm. Get down.
Or they bought him a pet dog and called it Kayla or something.
That was fucking painful to analyze right there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I bet he was proud of that. I think, Andrew, you said how did he not go back and reread this? I bet he did, and I think he was probably proud.
That's quite disturbing. Fucking hell.
Please, Tiffany, carry on. Get the taste out of my mouth. One, please.
All right, let's see. After all, a person is usually filled with self-guilt when they don't complete a task they set out to do. Was this going to happen to him? Was he going to drive himself to insanity because he was deprived of finishing a job he swore to himself he was going to finish? Or is he filled with guilt because of the horrible way he'd witnessed people dying in front of him and he couldn't stop it? That question made frightening and disgusting images appear in his memory and brought what he felt was the cold, hard truth in the open. Those people had died because he wasn't where he should have been. He should have realized that things were going too smoothly on those days, that things were just too quiet at those times, and that he was too relaxed in doing his job. Unconsciously, his mouth fell open as these thoughts filled his head. Just then, the phone rang and snapped Aaron out of his transfixed state of mind. He wiped his eyes with the tears that he just realized had filled them, and then cleared his throat before picking up the portable telephone and hitting the talk button. Hello?
Happened? 1 second. What happened? Did he fall asleep on guard duty or something? Get a whole bunch of his troops killed? What's he guilty about? Was he feel guilty?
No, he's talking about, well, first of all, when Paul was shot, he feels guilty because he wasn't looking around. He wasn't, he didn't see the snipers and all that. And then plus, when he was by the kids, he doesn't know if he had done something or if he had been more alert or if he, well, and also with the Paul thing, they weren't wearing their bulletproof vests.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He should feel tons of guilt.
Yeah. You know what you should feel guilty for, Chen?
What's that?
Do you know what you should feel guilty for?
What's that?
Oh.
The gum in your mouth.
Yeah, or something that you're eating.
Tone.
Okay.
He's having Rice Krispie Squares, chicken pie,
butterscotch.
Not only is he chewing, he's like helping himself to a full spread.
Absolutely, and I'm washing it down with Mountain Dew.
And water.
Right. Yeah.
Why
were the children playing with the ball of the target instead of Aaron and his fellow American soldiers?
Because the enemy they're horrible people. They're going to go after kids if they can. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Shock value. Yeah.
They're creating serial killers to send home.
Exactly. Hi, this is Mom, she stated.
What ridiculously predictable, it's his mother. For fuck's sake, I thought there was going to be an interesting telephone call then, like it was Paul who's not really dead, or Paul's mum saying, you got my fucking... It's his fucking mum.
That you stole.
Exactly. Aaron tried to disguise any sign of emotional problems he had just been having when he heard his mother's voice. He didn't want her to think that something was wrong and become worried. Hi, Mom. What's up? He asked, bringing forward a more cheerful tone to his voice. Not much, she asked. What are you doing? Watching a little TV and relaxing, he answered. Good. I thought I'd give you a quick call and see if there's anything you needed while I'm out and about. I forgot to ask you before I left this morning, she explained. No, I'm fine, but thank you for thinking about me, though. Yeah, she had asked about getting him something to sleep, but not anything else.
Right.
So, you're welcome. I'll see you when I get home. Okay, bye, and drive careful. Aaron hung up the phone with a sigh of relief that he'd been able to put his issue past his mother that time, even though it was a very strained effort to do so. He lifted his head up to the ceiling, closed his eyes, and began running through what he was thinking about before the phone had snapped him out of it. Those were ridiculous thoughts I had, he said out loud to himself. There's no way I could possibly have known what was going to happen. He looked at the television and saw the news report about Iraq had ended. So he flipped the channel to country music videos, laid himself down on the couch, and drifted off.
Wait a minute, is that true? Did you? Okay, it is true. Okay. I thought you threw that in there, Tiffany. Thank you.
Oh, no.
He's so lazy.
He's not actually done anything, has he?
Nothing.
And why does his mother need to... where's his car? Because we know his mom bought him the car. That was the very first thing we learned about. Where's his car? Why can't he get his lazy ass up and go get his own sleeping pills or Mountain Dew or whatever?
I think in Lorne's story, he's house ridden now and being pampered because of everything that he's been through. But even that doesn't make much sense.
He's just stinking up her couch, man. That's all he's doing.
Exactly.
Lazy bones.
The sound of a car horn blaring in the driveway snapped him out of his sleep and made him snap up quickly from the couch. His nerves were on end for a few long seconds until he remembered where he was at and that it was his mother honking the horn in the driveway. He opened the door to find his mother loading up her arms with grocery bags, so he slipped on his shoes and hurried out to help her carry them in. You look like you just woke up, she stated. I did. What time is it? He asked. It's a little after 4 in the afternoon, she answered. Wow. I guess I really must have been tired. Well, you had a long flight, so that probably wore you out. Well, I feel a lot better now, Aaron explained as he stretched and yawned before taking an armful of grocery bags. Good. Does that mean you'll help me cook dinner? She asked with a smile on her face. Yeah, I guess it does. Aaron smiled at his mom because he could tell she just wanted him to help her so they could spend some quality time together. He was happy she missed him. What are we having for dinner? He inquired. I thought we would make a pizza and then play some cards or something. Would you be interested in that? That sounds good to me. Sounds relaxing too, so it's the perfect way to finish out the day, he replied as she fit one more bag of groceries in his already full arms.
Relaxing from
And I like too. Right. And I like too that the only reason she wanted him to help her make dinner is because she wanted to spend time with him, not because he's a lazy sack of shit who hasn't done anything all day and can't contribute to literally anything.
Literally anything.
But I
agree.
This is exactly
the obsession is creepy.
Yep. Somebody wrote.
It's exactly what he believes. Go ahead.
I was just to say, Cornville 3-Way wrote, I love that even in his fantasy, he still has no friends.
That is true. So far, anyway. But this is how he envisions. This is how he envisions the mother-son relationship to be. That he is the child at home. She takes care of the house. She cooks for him. She made him coffee in the morning. It was all ready for him when he stumbled out. He just needs to relax and take it easy, and she's going to go running around getting him whatever he needs. She goes grocery shopping. She makes all of his favorite food, and he doesn't have to lift a damn finger.
No, unless she wants to spend quality time with him.
Of course. Yeah, that's the only reason. Yeah. That's the only reason.
She has no friends, no life, the only thing in her life is her bright, shining star of a son. It's all she cares about, all she thinks about. It's weird.
She's an elderly woman, for crying out loud. She could use like another enabler character should be introduced, like an Aunt Sharon type. Take the load off of her.
Right. Good. Let's get these groceries inside and get started on our pizza. They finished carrying in the rest of the groceries and began making their pizza. After eating, they played a few games of rummy, and she got Aaron caught up on gossip of the family and told him stories of happenings at bingo and her work. He completely enjoyed himself, and she took his mind away from Iraq, and it helped him to relax easier. She never asked him anything about his time in Iraq while they spent their quality time together. Maybe she could see that he was bothered by guilt and the horrible images and memories from the war, and he needed a few hours where he could escape from it all and be himself again. Funny how mothers could always see the most inner parts of their children when nobody else had a clue that something was wrong.
Oh, God. This mother thing is starting to piss me off now. Like, there's just
creepy, right?
Going on. And the thing is, it's such a boring fucking story. I mean, we're chapter 5 and nothing's happened. Like, well, stuff's happening, but it's just fucking dreadful. You know where it's going.
You know what I just thought about?
I just envision like somebody coming home. I don't know. I mean, it would be more normal for them to hook up with their friends again, maybe go out or do something. Again, I don't know what psychological condition someone would be in or whatever, but you'd have at least that option out there and, catch up on old times. But this story is just so mama boyish. It's just, and the reason why the mother would be able to detect all these things is because he has no other friends. She's the only person that could. He's just so isolated. Mm-hmm. And then he brings up friends later on that came out of nowhere. But
right.
Anyway, it's just sad.
It was after 1:00 in the morning when they finally put away the deck of cards and turned the lights out. Aaron was tired again, even though he had gotten a lot of sleep that day. He got out of his clothes, pulled back the covers, and climbed into bed, feeling good about the time he'd spent with his mother. It wasn't long before he was fast asleep and lost in an endless night of tossing and turning. Aaron woke up to the smell of bacon, eggs, and biscuits flowing across his nose. He pulled some pants on, threw a shirt on, and gradually slid into his slippers. He stumbled clumsily down the hall and into the kitchen toward the coffee pot. After pouring himself a cup of coffee and spilling a quarter of it on the table, he toned in to his mother as she spoke. "You're not the most graceful person in the morning, are you?" she said sarcastically. Aaron groaned as he fumbled with ripping off a couple sheets of paper towels to sop up the mess from overfilling his coffee cup. I've definitely had mornings where I've conjured up more coordination than I have this morning, He retorted. I don't know.
That was really clever. That's a good one.
He's trying to be clever, yeah.
He retorts a lot, too.
Yeah, retorted.
Wait a minute. Does Aaron sleep naked? Because he described.
Yeah.
Well, have you got a bit of a thing for the Amanda James? Are you imagining him in the nude?
Him. I hope he dies.
We know he slept naked in Paul's bunk.
Lauren loves to be naked all the time, and Aaron is Lauren. So that just stood out to me. I wonder if he sleeps naked, but I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
It's comfortable.
Definitely
he
in
threw
Paul's
the coffee
bunk.
soaked. Yes. He threw the coffee-soaked paper towels in the trash, added some cream and sugar to his coffee, and shuffled his feet lazily to the kitchen table with his coffee in hand. His mother set a plate in front of him filled with 4 strips of bacon, 3 sunny-side-up eggs, and 1 steaming biscuit that was just pulled from the oven, along with a tall glass of freshly squeezed orange juice. Or so it said on the carton.
Yeah.
It didn't take him long to devour the food and down his orange juice. Once he finished eating, he began pouring his wake-up juice back into himself.
What?
It's so clever.
What are you talking about?
It's coffee.
What was
wake-up juice is coffee.
But
gasoline.
Hang on a minute. Once he finished eating, he began pouring his wake-up juice back into himself. What, did he regurgitate it and then pour it back into himself? What the fuck is he talking about?
I think he's
trying
to be clever. He's trying to say, no, he's just trying to say he's waking up now. He's getting his wake-up juice going.
Yeah.
He's full of shit. That's what he is.
He's an author, Andrew.
Yeah, well.
He's trying to paint a
He
picture.
just knows how to turn a phrase better than any of us.
Exactly.
I've just read ahead and I'm laughing. I can't help it.
Are you going to do anything today, or are you going to rest another day? His mother asked. I'm going to go see my friend Derek today, he replied. I also
don't
might
like
go to
him.
the Veterans Cemetery. After that, I'm going to come back and make some calls and see if I can find out where my friend Paul is buried. Would you like me to be home when you make the calls? She asked.
Shouldn't he already know that information? This is a guy who he fucking jizzed all over his bed when he died. Wouldn't he know where he was buried?
Why does he need his mother to make phone calls?
To be emotional support.
Right. She loves him so much. She wants to be there to baby him and hold his hand through everything.
That reminds me of Ruth with the birds. You know? I got birds.
This man has seen people blown to fucking smithereens. And his mother's like, do you want me to be here when you make a phone call? It's stupid. He's stupid.
No, I'll be fine. Thank you for asking, though. All right, then. I'm heading to work now if you're all set. My number to the office is on the refrigerator in case you need me for anything. Have a good day, Mom.
She's going to work.
You too. Yes. Well, someone has to have the money for all the bacon and eggs.
Right.
All those butterscotch stuff.
Yeah. You too. And be careful, she added. I will, Aaron replied. He gave her a kiss on the cheek before she walked out the door, then turned and headed for the shower. Feeling the hot water rush over his head and body was refreshing and relaxing, and it revitalized his energy that he had lost from the long flight across the ocean. After getting dressed, he poured himself another cup of coffee, walked outside and stood next to his car and let the heat from the sunlight soak into his face. This was one of his favorite times of the day when the sun was just beginning to heat up the earth and it was a comfortable temperature. He finished his coffee and returned his cup to the house before heading off to visit with his friend Derek. As he was driving, he took in all the greenery beside the road that he hadn't been able to enjoy for the past year. It was nice to see these things again. It helped to ease some of the tension in his muscles that had been growing that morning. He saw Derek sitting outside on his porch peeling potatoes for his mother. Derek stood up when Aaron got out of his car and greeted his longtime friend.
How did he know that he was peeling potatoes for his mother as he was Never mind.
Because Derek has the same relationship with his mother as.
Why can't you peel potatoes in the kitchen?
Of course, everybody does. But why didn't he call first? I'd be pissed if somebody just showed up at my house and I was busy peeling potatoes. I'd be like, "Excuse me, I'm busy.
Yeah,
I don't want to hang out with you." That's so rude.
It's like setting up like a Petticoat Junction kind of scenario, like a country boy thing. Peeling potatoes.
And how many potatoes do you have to peel that you have to take a trip outside to do it? I don't know.
It's like It's like you would see like in the army or something where a bunch of guys have to peel potatoes. You know?
She's making 50 pounds of potato salad.
Yeah, if you read ahead like I always do, you see that Derek has a spare potato.
Oh, he's got more potatoes.
He gives it to Aaron and says, "You can help me." Since you just
they have a long afternoon,
uninvited. Yeah.
Thanks for being born. I like that, Andrew.
All right. Hey, Aaron, I heard you were back.
No shit, you just were on the phone with me, asshole.
Derek stated as he set down the potato peeler and reached out to shake Aaron's hand. Yeah, I just got back 2 days ago, Aaron replied. How have you been doing, Derek?
Jesus Christ.
Good. Come up on the porch. I'll get another peeler and you can help me peel these potatoes while we talk.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Didn't they set out to meet each other by telephone? Didn't they already talk?
No.
Oh, I thought he did. Oh, that was his mother.
No.
That's
what I just said. He just showed up there.
Okay. Then this is a very rational discussion. I'm sorry. Okay.
It is. Try to follow. All right, Aaron answered with a slight smile, knowing Derek just wanted someone to help him so that he could get finished with them quicker. Aaron sat down in the chair across from the one that Derek had occupied when he arrived. When Derek returned with a second peeler and a couple glasses filled with ice and Coke, he asked, "You must be happy to finally be home." "Huh?" "Yeah, kind of. I liked being over there too, though." Aaron's mind began to drift in thought a little, and Derek noticed it. "I know it must be a little hard on you. I've heard some stories about some of the things people go through over there, so if you don't want to talk about any of it, I understand." "Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that," Aaron replied. They sat and talked for a couple of hours while they peeled potatoes.
2 hours of
Derek
fucking peeling potatoes.
Holy shit. Yeah.
Derek caught Aaron up on what he had been doing since graduation, and plus let him in on what he knew about some of their other friends from school.
Yeah.
Aaron stayed and ate lunch with Derek, and then went back home so that he could start making calls to find out where his friend Paul was buried. Once he found a blank piece of...
No, T. Davis said, "Then we'll shuck some corn and snap some beans."
Exactly.
I
Once
bet they
he found
ate
a blank
potatoes for lunch.
Of course they did. Once he found a blank piece of paper, he pulled open the drawer to where his mother kept the phone book. He pulled it out and set it on the table and began thumbing through the pages until he found the phone number for Veteran Affairs. He removed the portable phone from its base and began punching in the numbers. He held the phone against his ear with his shoulder as he put the phone book back in the drawer and waited for the call to be answered.
Sorry, can I just say somebody? Sorry to interrupt. Somebody in the chat just put they were peeling potatoes for 2 fucking hours. That's like a barrel. How many potatoes did they need?
Yeah. No, it's
I have no idea.
It's got to be a whole field of potatoes.
Maybe Derek lives on a farm.
But what's important right now is that we figured out that he is using the phone exactly as intended. You pick it up, you dial it, you put it to your ear. What else do you do?
He presses the buttons. It's all working
Put
like
it on
clockwork.
your shoulder. Yeah. Veteran Affairs, how may I direct your call? The voice on the other end asked. "Hi," Aaron replied. "I need to find out where a friend of mine is buried, and I'm not sure who it is I need to talk to for that information." "Hold on, and I'll connect you with the proper department," the operator answered. Aaron waited patiently and listened to the hold music while he waited for the operator to connect him with the person he needed to talk to. After a few minutes of waiting, the music stopped and a young-sounding voice came on the other end of the line.
Did it go, "Hi, this is Valerie.
It's just a road."
"Hi, my name is Aaron Johnson. I need to find out where my friend is buried and wanted to know if you could help me out with that." "Yes, I can. What is his name?"
Yes,
Valerie asked. "Staff Sergeant Paul Pablo."
Wasn't
Aaron
it Pablo?
replied I believe that it was. Aaron replied as he held back the hurt
They'll
in his
probably
throat.
come back and say, "Sorry, we don't have anybody on the books with that name. Oh, I'm sorry to have troubled you. Bye."
"Where was he last stationed?" she asked. "In Mosul, Iraq. That's where he was killed." Also.
Wait a minute, wasn't he? They stationed in Baghdad?
Yeah, is Mosul in Baghdad?
I don't know. I think it's a different area, but Baghdad is. I thought they were directing traffic and cordoning off crime scenes in Baghdad.
Baghdad's the capital city, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about Anyway, this is the least of the problems this fucking book's got with regards to a few geographical issues.
Right. Give me just a couple of minutes while I put you on hold and find that information for you. Okay. Okay, thank you. Aaron waited patiently again and listened to a different song from the hold music he had heard from the last time he was put on hold. He wrote down the words "Paul's grave" on a piece of paper and traced the letters the second time while he waited and thought. Finally, the music stopped and Valerie returned on the line. "Hello, Mr. Johnson?" Valerie spoke. "Yes," Aaron replied. "I've located your friend. The computer is telling me that he is buried at Mount Pleasant Cemetery in Huntington, Indiana." Aaron wrote the information Valerie had given him on the paper in front of him and thanked her for her help. He looked at the information again as he pressed the off button on the phone. took in a deep breath, then let it out heavily. He walked down the hall to his bedroom, removed his clothes, and got dressed in his military uniform.
I thought he was going to do something improper with that information then, but...
Right. He stopped by the flower shop on the way and picked up a bouquet of flowers for Paul's grave, along with a couple small American flags to stick on both sides of his headstone. Once he found the cemetery, he parked his car and began walking around in search of Paul's gravestone. After 30 minutes of searching, he found it located at the bottom of the big hill under a maple tree, about 30 feet from a stream that ran along beside the cemetery. He placed the bouquet of flowers in front of his headstone, next to some others that someone had left there, then stabbed the long sticks from the small American flags on them onto the ground on either side of the gravestone. After putting the flags in place, he sat down in the grass in front of the headstone. He looked down and plucked a couple strands of grass from the ground, then looked back up at the headstone with his eyes full of tears as he began talking to Paul's stone.
Can I just interrupt? Mm-hmm. Sorry. Like, this bit about him ringing to find out where he was buried, what was the fucking point of that? You don't need to know that any of that. Like, you could just have that information he found out from... Because it's just like, what is the point of any of this?
Well, Aaron's not allowed on the internet, apparently,
right.
to find out. And then also, you would think you don't just go to a cemetery and start walking around you have to know a general area.
You need a little map.
Where it's going to be. Yeah, it's not like a small, tiny cemetery with 20 graves in it that you would just find it. That would be... Well, I mean, he walked around for 30 minutes trying to find it.
Isn't this grave site supposed to be in Indiana somewhere? Is that what he said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where they are.
Yeah.
Is that where Aaron lives? We've never been told that, I don't think. So he lives in Indiana?
Yeah, he does.
Okay. So they're both from Indiana. And the other thing is, and again, I'm not sure about this, but do most fallen soldiers in combat, aren't they buried at Arlington? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if everyone is, if that's an automatic thing. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Right.
Let's see. I made it home alive, Paul. I wish you were here with me. It would be really nice to have someone to talk to about my feeling, about what my feelings are inside. I feel like a completely different person. I feel like I'm trapped inside myself, and it's driving me crazy. I try my best to hide it, but I think sometimes people can tell something's wrong with me, especially my mom. It's hard to hide things from her, but I can't talk to her about the things I'm feeling either, because she didn't go through the things we went through. Nobody can understand that feeling unless they've been there. I'm afraid it might be driving me insane. On my way home from the airport, I swear I saw you standing on the side of the road when we rounded a corner. You were standing there in your uniform holding a rifle. It kind of threw me when that happened. I'm not sure what it was about or if it was about anything, but it's let me know that I may never be normal again. Well, I guess I better be heading back home before my mother thinks something's happened to me. I can constantly see how worried she is about me. Goodbye, my friend. Aaron stood up and brushed off some loose grass from the seat of his pants, then stood at attention to salute his friend's grave. After letting his arm fall down, he wiped another tear from his eye, then turned and made his way back to his car.
I'm surprised he didn't go to sleep on top of his grave, to be honest, but never mind.
Right.
Tiffany, I have to give you credit. I can't believe you're able to do this.
Yeah, I agree. We have to give you some credit for this, because this is painful.
I don't know how you're holding up. This is.
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Aaron regained his composure on his way home. He was able to have a good, solid conversation with his mother about how his day was and how her day was. I feel a little better now that I was able to go visit Paul's grave. It's in a nice location, he told her. That's good. I know you must have had a hard time with it, though. So if you want to talk about anything, you know that I'm here for you. She told him without pressure. She knew it wouldn't do him any good to be pressured about talking about what he was feeling. All it would do was make it harder for him to deal with what he went through and was going through. Thank you, Mom, and I appreciate it, but it's too deep for me to talk about right now, he replied with regret. Okay, whenever you feel ready, I'm here. She tried to try to comfort him. Aaron quickly moved the conversation by asking her if she knew what the weather was going to be tomorrow before she could answer, the telephone rang. His mother picked the phone up off its base and pressed the talk button.
Finally, something's going to happen.
She's excited. Hi, Mrs. Johnson. This is Derek. Is Aaron there? He asked. Yes, he is, she answered. Hold on one second. She handed the phone over to Aaron. It's Derek, she informed him. Hey, Derek, what's up? Aaron asked his old high school friend. Hey, Aaron, I wanted to see what you were doing on Friday night. Nothing that I know of right now, Aaron answered. If I set you up on a blind date, would you go?
Can I just stop there? Do they think it's a good idea to set the mate with PTSD up on a blind date?
Well, Aaron's hiding it pretty well, so.
That's true.
That's right.
But the whole point of him coming home is that he's been discharged. Well, we don't fucking know, but as we understand it, the reason he's home early is because he's been through this terrible traumatic experience. He's been discharged early. Discharge or whatever, you know what I mean? If basically they would know, wouldn't they? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, what's he doing back home? Well, his friend got blown away and he's not feeling too good. It's not like, oh yeah, he's just finished. Oh, I know.
Well, he needs a woman to make him complete. He needs a woman to help him get through his issues.
He needs a woman to go to work while he stays on the couch all day.
I suppose that explains a big gaping plot hole, but yeah, we'll allow it.
Right. Okay. Now let's see.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess, Aaron replied in surprise. Good. Can you be ready at 8? Sure.
I guess.
Good.
I guess.
The girl's name is Brooke. She's 20 years old. You're going on a double date with me and my girlfriend, Amy. Brooke is 20. Amy's friend. Derek.
How old is he again? Sorry, real quick. How old is Aaron?
Same age.
I think he's the
same. That age appropriate?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. He's not 37 today. Okay, Aaron answered. All right, I'll talk to you on Friday, Derek stated before hanging up his end of the phone. Bye. Aaron pressed the off button on the phone and placed it back on its base. What did he want? Aaron's mother asked. He wanted to know if I wanted to go on a double date with him and his girlfriend Amy and her friend Brooke. Aaron replied to his mother with a smirk. And you're going? She asked. Yes. You didn't have anything special planned for me on Friday night that you didn't tell me about yet, did you? He asked. Nope. I think it's great that you've got a date. I hope you have fun, she replied with a smile.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. This part is good, too. Yeah, you're just hoping for grandchildren, huh? He asked jokingly. Maybe. But whatever you do,
Aaron?
make sure the woman you have children with is the one that you really want to be with, though, his mother added.
He hasn't even met this girl.
So shit, Mom.
God, man.
That was all weird. The minute he hangs up the phone, his mother's like, "What did he want? What did he want? Mind your own business, Mom." I'm like,
get out
of
this
here.
Thing for grandchildren, that's like a innuendo.
Yeah, that's weird. But when he asked her, you didn't have anything special planned for me for Friday night, did you? What? Like what? Another surprise
Yeah.
Another
party?
surprise party.
Right.
A thank you for being born party?
That's right.
Can't believe he's going on a double date with Derek.
I know.
This is one impressive chapter. It really is.
One more line and then we're done.
Really? For the whole chapter?
I will, Mom. Don't worry. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not stupid enough to be stuck with just anyone. Aaron smiled at his mom being so protective of his future. There we go.
Well, thank you for reading all that, Tiffany, because I was struggling to even. That was
not mute you. That's what I was struggling to do. Not mute you.
It was pretty great, though, wasn't it? I mean, it's painful, yes, but I think it gives such such a portrait of Lorne and what he views as his relationship with his mom, what he wants it to be, what he would have wanted his military experience to be, coming home as a hero.
How other people see him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What foods he likes to eat.
Though, is like, it's just too much, isn't it? It's like there's nothing, there's no other I don't know what to say about this shit show, to be honest.
Well,
chicken pie.
If my memory serves me correctly, I believe the next chapter is going to be the romance chapter. Am I correct?
Ooh, you are correct.
So we have a sex scene in the next chapter. They're not even fucking met yet.
No.
Right, but Lorne needed to move the story along. These, the actual relationship, that's just a detail. We need to, we've only got 6 more chapters after the next one. So,
and that was a long
an even worse love story than fucking Attack of the Clones.
And it's almost like he writes a different novel in the second half, like 2 different stories.
Hey, yeah, we're halfway through the book now. Oh no, chapter 6 is halfway. Isn't the 12 chapters?
Yeah, the next one.
Oh,
yeah.
So you've not even done half yet. Fucking hell.
You can't really judge it by the chapters. Some are like a half a page long that we've done. So
right.
I think we've got a long way to go because the action's coming up. And the sex and the marriage.
Well, it's supposed to be sex. Let's not really call it that.
It's
whoa! Stop right there! No spoilers.
Wow.
There's no spoilers. You knew there was a sex scene.
Yeah, I know, but I know Shin's itching to talk about it. Like he just can't wait.
He wants to.
It's the only part of the book I'm interested in. Man.
Yeah, it's the best chapter in the whole book. And what's even funnier is to imagine Lorne in prison, like in his cell with his cellmate, writing this sex scene.
Oh, and he's naming the characters in his books after some of his cellmates. As a matter of fact, going back to his prison journal, on his first or second day that he wrote, there's a guy named Gentry that he's a cellmate with, a black guy, one of only 2, I think, in his weird pod that he's in. So Gentry actually came out of prison too, and it makes me wonder whether, because he did mention this also in the chat log, whether he made them aware that their names are going to be in his novel, and that somehow got him cachet, some kind of, whatever.
Yeah, that was something that was going to make them really happy.
Yeah. But where'd he get Derek from?
I reckon he didn't remember Derek from the chat log, specifically who Derek was. It's just something that came up in his mind. So, like, that name will have been prominent in his mind, but he wouldn't have been able to piece it together about where it came from. Because it's too much of a coincidence. I'm not having the word Derek. So, ironically, he doesn't even know that Derek's his arch enemy.
It's a delicious surprise. It really is. I like that, man. I like that theory. Unless he knows a real Derek. But I wonder who he based his mother's character after.
Right.
Aaron's based on.
Yeah, who knows, right?
It's like it's such a strange thing to critique because it's worth pointing out, right? Lorne's not a very developed human, right? I think we can all agree. And it would be ridiculously unfair to critique somebody for having a go at a book like this. It doesn't matter how bad it is. If someone had a go and they were just shit, you just say, listen, dude, writing's not for you. You've had a go, fucking let it die. You know what I mean? But obviously, with what Lorne has done with this book, he kind of does everything morally wrong and great in it. He talks about his dead brother when he's not mentioned him before. He makes these virtue signaling things on the back of the book about the donations, and it's so much arrogance and ignorance within it. It almost seems like it'd be a crime not to critique it and have a go at him. Do you get what I mean? Because it's like it wouldn't be fair in a normal situation to have a go at somebody for because I don't like it when I read reviews.
No.
of even music reviews. I don't like reading music reviews where reviewers will berate the artist and they'll just say this guy's shit or this album's terrible. It's like, you've got no right to say that. Say you didn't enjoy it, but don't fucking have a go because you're not an artist, you're not a writer. Fuck off, you know. But this kind of is different.
Yeah,
this is a bit different. Isn't
it? This is like the world's most uninformed man writing a novel about everything.
Well, and what makes it interesting, it's not just that the writing is bad and the story sucks. What makes it interesting is that we know Lorne, so to like pull out these parallels from his real life, like we know he's so needy and he just wants to be babied above all else, even as a 50-year-old man. And then we read about the fictional relationship with the mother and what he wishes his could be. That's what makes it fun.
Oh, of course,
and entertaining for me.
I mean, that's why we're doing this, isn't it? That's why we're going through it in the way that we are, because there's only us and everybody in the chat who's actually getting something out of it. And, you know, there's a lot of people listening. The videos are getting a lot of people. So people are interested in it because of how we feel about Lorne and his situation, you know. And it's interesting that there's more of his personality coming out than what he would ever realise, because he doesn't think along the terms that we do. He doesn't understand the conscious and the subconscious, and, you know, he's not...
Well, this is him being the best man he thinks he needs to be. This is what his idea of being the best man. That's
a good point. I like the way you put that.
I don't know. Can you imagine picking up this book without knowing who Lorne is and starting to read it? You would think it's a joke. You would think, what the fuck is this? I wonder if there's any honest reviews, people who don't know Lorne, who've read this thing. It'd be a total waste. I mean, the review would be longer than the book.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it, to get like a real sort of, a real literary critic to critique it, you know.
It would be too much to critique. It'd be too much.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to get through it. They'd say, well, this isn't real, is it? This is a joke. This isn't a published book. You know, they'd think if they did. Let's just say that they didn't know. Let's just say a real reviewer for the fucking Sunday Times or whatever reviewed this book and had absolutely no idea who wrote it, but it was a published. Well, not even that it was a published book. What do you think that they would think? That it was written by a child. I think they would think it was written by somebody in prison who's insane.
Most likely, yes.
Or a 7th grader.
But even I don't think a 7th grader would write about the Iraq thing. I think that's what gives it away.
A 7th grader would write better about the Iraq thing.
Yeah.
They probably get into details about battles and stuff like this.
No, I don't think they would even know. I mean, think about yourself in 7th grade. Are you going to be able to write a book about that?
Your book has to be written about this. I guarantee a 7th grader would write better.
Well, there would be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there would be a lot of gunfights and all that kind of
well,
stuff.
That's
yeah.
And they would like never think about sleeping in
stuff.
Yeah. You know, they would never consider, as part of their story, sleeping in your fallen comrade's bunk. They would never think.
That's true. That's a good point. Most people wouldn't think of that, to be fair. I wouldn't think most adult men would even think of that.
Right.
There is some amazingly funny moments, though, like the bit where he's going on about food on the table. It's just something so stupid that's got no significance, but yet you could just tell that he got carried away when he's writing it because he was hungry. It's so stupid. Right. But yeah, this is supposed to be a novel, and the only time he gets excited is when he's writing about food.
What am I going to wash this down
the food
with?
He hasn't had any of that stuff in a really long time. Yeah.
And, you know, of all the foods you can think of, it's kind of like, you know, I'm thinking like, roast beef and, lobster and all this other. If you're going to fantasize about food, he fantasizes about weird fucking shit, weird food.
Well, those are all his favorite things.
Yeah.
The chicken pie, the ham cubes.
Yeah. Right. It's all about him. And I get, when you have a party, of course you're going to have that person in mind, that it would make sense that you would, but you also have to think about your guests too.
Sure.
You don't just plop down what this one person likes. What if everybody hated that?
Even like a spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. This whole spread is just like not cohesive at all. They don't go. It's a bunch of different sweets: chocolate cake, vanilla cream puffs, fucking whatever else there was, and then there are like 2 savory items: chicken pie and ham cube mashed potato.
The corn and ham cubes mixed with the potatoes. How weird is that specifically? I mean, maybe that happens in your plate if you have those 3 different foods on it, but to actually include it in your mashed potatoes, I don't know.
Well, that certainly could have just been something that she made, like when he was growing up. Like that would be a cheap dinner that's going to fill a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's something that kids might like, and just like Tiffany said, it's probably relatively inexpensive, and you make a whole bunch of it. We know his mom had a whole lot of kids to feed, so she made a big bucket of mashed potatoes with some ham cubes and corn mixed in, and that's
they peel potatoes for 2 hours. They got a lot.
Well, it doesn't even sound like Derek was invited to this party, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, you're right.
He was actually at that
Who
party.
was there?
He just said family and friends, but didn't specifically say anybody.
But they're insensitive.
He didn't identify
family and friends who
anybody.
keep asking the same questions over and over again, and he had to repeat, keep repeating them until it gave him a headache.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't imagine going to something like that and be like, "Hey, what was it like over there? What did you do? Did you kill anybody?" I don't know. I think that
best buddy die.
I imagine myself letting that person kind of lead the conversation. How are you doing? Are you you must be exhausted from your flight, but I wouldn't go into having them outline. Yeah, exactly. Unless they wanted to say something.
Right, but certainly not at their party. But also keep in mind, he just spent 3 months in a psych ward. And then the minute he comes home, everybody jumps out of a dark room and surprises him. And he immediately gets flashbacks of his time in Iraq. And then, like you said, people are like, "Oh, so what's it like over there? Is it like, are there bombs going off everywhere? Did you kill anybody?
Are the kids blowing up?
Tell me." Right, any kids get blown up? Let's hear
it. God.
Right, well, I've had just about a take of Lorne's literary experiments today, but thanks everybody in the chat and you guys going through this with me. I know it's been painful, but thank you very much for being born. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
It's been a lot of fun, and a special thanks to Tiffany for reading it all the way through.
Yeah, I'm very happy you got to that chapter.
Yay,
Thank you.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
But guys in the chat, thanks for your hilarious comments. It's made it, and a special thank you to Shin's manhole. He just said, "Be safe, Shin," and put a load of pictures of manholes and then a barrier.
I think it's time that you turned your stream, turn it on to the off button right now.
The off button. Oh dear.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And next week, if hopefully everybody will be free again, and it'll be the big one where Shin won't be falling down any manholes next week. I can guarantee it, because he's been waiting for fucking ever to go over this. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with Lorne's
I wear a helmet
version
when I
of
walk
50 Shades of Grey, of 50 Shades of fucking White, probably, but like fuck that shit. Anyway, yeah. So, guys, thanks so much. Thanks to everybody here, and please leave any comments about any observations that you've made that we might have missed, because we had a lot to cover. We weren't able to break it down as much as what we had with the other chapters because we'd been here all night, and plus I was starting to get fucking sick of it. It's good to go through, but you're just like, oh fucking hell! It's painful and funny at the same time. I can't really think of any other way. Lon's shitty writing's rubbing off on me now. I'm just talking to myself, like Lon does on his book. Anyway,
Are you muttering?
Yeah, muttering to myself in speech marks in my head.
Just find yourself back to yourself. Okay? Find your way back to yourself.
Yeah. I'm lost within the fucking context of feeling guilty about having thoughts of in a fucking book. What the fuck am I going?